But you could use this activity to do different forms as well, such as maybe the simple present to talk about these things that are always true, right? For higher levels, maybe we could modify it so that it uses past progressive. For example, the radio was playing music loudly, right, to describe things that were happening as you were listening to them, right? So you can take this type of language and you can play with it. All sorts of stuff can come up from the students' ideas. Now, the other thing we can do is have students, after this, give them a different context that happens in their daily life, right? For example, in the subway, right? I could give a group of students that context in the subway, or another group of students I could give on the street, right? Or maybe a third group of students in their bedroom. Anyway,
that might be a little
maybe not. Well, students might talk about it. You never know.
Yeah, you might not want to.
But anyway, when you give them these contexts, ask them, as a group, I want you to think of when you're in the subway, what type of sounds do you hear in the subway? And do the same basic activity again as a group, except give them maybe a piece of foolscap if possible, or some paper, and have them draw the situation that they've come up with. For example, if they were doing in the subway and they said, I hear people chewing their food next to me, right? Lovely sound. Maybe they could draw a person eating in the subway. So they want to take all the sounds that they've thought of, draw it on the paper instead of using, writing the words themselves. And then you can put those papers up on the wall and have different groups go around to those papers and again kind of do the same activity again. Have them try to describe what it is in the picture that is making a sound, right? Get some language that comes out of that, and then you can go up to the board as the teacher again and use that language to add to the collocated language or whatever form you're teaching, just like we've done with the ones that are there, right?
Yep.
So I think that's a great activity. Sounds fun, I think.
Yeah. And I think also one of the things I like about it too is that idea of incorporating a little bit of silence into the classroom. Effective silence. Because I do think that sometimes we forget that students need a moment to just gather themselves. That they're not, people aren't always on. They can't always be participating. Always, so that time to let them think their own thoughts, gather their energies or whatever in a focused way, but a quiet way. I think is quite a nice change of pace for some people.
For a whole minute. Actually, do you know that there's actually a CD? I can't remember who it was by, but there's a song called 4 minutes and 44 seconds, and all it is nothing. It's just silence for that 4 minutes and 44 seconds.
Can't you just turn the
theoretically, I mean, you don't have to pay for that.
I wouldn't want to buy
the idea was that a song can be made from the sounds that you hear around you.
Right.
Instead,
is that like kind of performance art?
Yeah, kind of like that, Yeah. So, I mean,
did you buy it?
No, I didn't. I didn't buy it. I just heard of it. But like you, I thought it was ludicrous to buy something like that. Anyway, so let's try another activity. Let's expand on the senses we're practicing and use them all and compare experiencing using those senses. Okay. So our next activity is called One of Us, None of Us, and that is. Well, I have the page number, but not on me right now, so let's just keep going. So what we can see up here is some pictures. What do you think they represent, Tanya?
Well, I know what they represent now, but I originally thought that they were just kind of, I don't know,
random pictures?
Art pictures, yeah.
Okay.
I wasn't really paying attention, but clearly Marissa is on the ball. Can I?
Yeah, sure.
I say because Marissa's saying no, it's the senses. Yes, and she is correct, I believe.
Exactly. Right. So obviously, some of them are obvious. What about the last one there with the wine? Which?
Or cranberry juice.
Oh, yeah, it could be cranberry juice, or blood.
Oh, nasty.
Sure. Marissa says smell and taste. Yeah, sure. You're smelling the wine, and then of course you're able to taste it after that. Okay, so what we are going to do is try to use these senses and experience questions using have you ever, right? So let's be careful, though, with these things that come up, because you could come up with some very strange, sensual things. What we really want to do is we want to make a survey, and a survey is a good way to add a task element to conversations in which people share experience they may or may not have had. And there's nothing to prepare for this, baby. Right? This activity, no preparation.
Nope.
So although I'd normally have students come up with the questions on their own to ask each other, I'd like to put together a little survey of experience questions starting with have you ever, or at least have you, blah, 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 and the sensory verbs like smell, taste, touch, hear.
Hear?
And
Hearing.
what's the other verb? What am I missing?
Visual, auditory, well.
Yeah. See, touch, hear, smell, and taste. Right. Okay. Anyway, so.
Thank you, Ada. Yes, she said you missed C.
Yeah, I know. The most obvious one, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I am not a visual learner. Anyway, so all of you guys that are out there listening, I want you to create the questions. So in the question box, I would like you to type a question that comes to mind with have you ever and one of the sensory verbs, or many questions. For example, you could write, have you ever seen a ghost? Right? So once I get enough questions from you guys, we're going to do the survey.
Oh, that's nice.
Okay, so don't say any of them yet, though.
Sorry.
Okay, so again.
Heard, seen, tasted, touched. Ooh, yeah, that's a good one, Ada.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh.
Now, unfortunately, all of you people are just hearing our interjections. Oh, oh. We have no idea what she's reading.
My chair makes particular noises.
Yeah, we've discovered that sort of strange, disconnected feeling about these webinars because you can't see what everybody's writing or that anybody else is even there. But trust us, there are people there and they are writing.
I like David's suggestion. That's very nice.
Okay. So I have quite a few of them now. So
yeah, absolutely.
What we're going to do is I'm going to ask you one of the questions, okay, that someone has come up with. And if you have done it, right, I would like you to raise your hand. And
I'm going to count you.
Tanya's going to count how many people have raised their hands. Okay? So are we
ready.
all ready?
I'm ready. Got my pen poised.
Okay, so question number 1. Let's see. Have you ever seen a full eclipse? If you have, raise your hand.
Oh, okay. I see.
Okay, so time's up for that one. Got your tally?
Got it. Yep,
okay, so I'm going to lower your hands now. Question 2. Have you ever touched a snake? Raise your hand if you have.
Okay, got it.
Okay, so everybody's answered. Okay. Question number 3. Have you ever tasted wine and then spat it out? Spat. It's a funny word.
It's better than spitted.
Yeah, there's some funny words in English, really. Spat.
Okay.
Okay, so everybody's answered.
Got it. Yeah.
Question number 4. Have you ever smelled the ocean breeze? Raise your hands. All right.
Okay.
And last question 5. Have you heard the birds chirping outside your house lately?